Hey guys, I'm Elise Wong and today I'm going to share with you another video of my real-time painting process of this mountain scene. I have already posted the time-lapse video of the entire process. I'll link at the top right-hand corner, so if you're interested you can click on that right now. The difference between that and this is that this is real-time, so you can see how I work. And I will do some commentary. I was a little heavy on the commentary for the first half, but then as I slowly progressed, it started to take a toll on me. I started getting really tired, and I was so quiet throughout the second half. So this one is also clips of my real-time painting process. So compile it together. It is about an hour long. This whole scene was inspired by the fact that I like snowy mountains. I think they're so beautiful, and it will be, at least in my head, it's a beautiful place to hike. So that's what inspired me. And what better way to end the hike by having a magical sanctuary at the top of the mountain? So yeah, that's how I managed to come up with the concept, and voila. I do hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you do, would really appreciate if you like and subscribe. And you can follow me on the following social media sites, which I'll link down below in the video description. I am grateful for all the love you can give me, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay cool and healthy. Hey guys, today is another day of experimenting, speed painting. Today I have a idea, a concept in my head about snowy mountains. I love snowy mountains. A little bit fantasy in this one as well. And I always like snowy mountains, although I've never seen them before. Let's go for the hard brush. Go for a dark gray. Just thinking how I would frame my painting. Trying to go for a showing that there's a lower ground. So this is where the ground would meet. Oops. Okay. Maybe bring it up more slightly. Okay. Now I'm going to use the standard round brush, make it a little lighter because it's closer to us as well. So okay. The sky. Let's see. I'm gonna go for the standard round brush as well. I just want to block in the idea I have. Usually for concepts, I know what I want conceptually, but in terms of details, I tend to have no clue. I usually work I usually work it out while I'm drawing. So yep, that's how it goes. A little bit of dramatic clouds. No, 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 no. This is so not working for me. I thought to do steady clouds, but then I thought it would be cool if there was like a little bit of a dramatic scene going on. Yeah, kind of like that. A little bit of whirling of the clouds, because you know shit is going down. Pardon my language. I hope no kids are watching this. If you do, it's not good to talk like that. I know. Not a very good role model here. I'm sorry. I should be better. Okay. So I guess this is roughly what I want. Let's see. So let's go to the lower ground. Now let's do the background, the back mountains. La 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 la. Let's go for a lighter gray. And let's see. It's gonna be a lot of different tones because it's not just gonna be a gigantic. It's not gonna be just a gigantic mountain. You're gonna have like a lot of levels and layers as well. And you can see that's what's going on. These are roughly never mind. Let's just fill in the gaps and we'll worry about the details later. Because I am really trying to look at the big picture and not the little details. Of course the little details are important, of course. It's just that, man, it's just that you don't want it to be, you don't want the details to engulf you, you know? Okay. So a little bit like that. Oh, that's my notification because I'm currently exporting the videos that I just edited. Yep. Busy, busy, busy. All for you guys, all for you. Okay, this is a bit too dark. I'm gonna go with a darker. Let's see, rocky texture, just what I want. I have a reference photo beside me, so that really makes things a lot easier. So like I know where my shadows have gone. Because if you do this all in your head, it's like, first of all, I have never seen snow. Okay, so how do you expect me to draw something I've never seen before? And number two, even if I did see it, I would not remember every single detail. I do not have a photographic memory, so I hope you guys don't expect too much from me. I am a human being, and human beings apparently do need reference photos, believe it or not, because, well, because of the said reasons. I don't know, I've seen people, artists, they just kind of go like, oh, reference photos, they're such, such cheaters, like using, how dare they use reference photos, such cheaters, they are, how can they do this? Well, I'm sorry, mm, just that it just has to be this way. So yeah, I think you shouldn't be ashamed if you have a reference photo, because people, I don't know, the way it's kind of like photography, and people think using Photoshop is like a cheat, but like, come on, man. First of all, um, photographers have been using Photoshop even before Photoshop came out. Okay, you can see the olden days, like portrait photographers back in the old days where they used manual cameras, non-digital, I mean. Yeah, apparently they do edit as well. I mean, you can see, I remember watching this one time, uh, this photographer back in the old days, he was like, he had this hobby of just cutting out, because he's a portrait photographer, and he cut out people's heads and he placed them on their laps. He did this all in the dark room, so yeah, that's it's just having a bit of fun. But what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, even then, people edit photos in the dark room to enhance the lighting, have a little fun and decapitate people in those photos. So yeah, it's, I guess, all a matter of perspective. And people think like, okay, using the grid method, that's a total embarrassment. That's a total cheat as well. But I don't know. It's if you ask me, I think it's nothing to be ashamed of, because it's like, it just is. You don't have to be ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed of it, and many other people, back in the olden artists also, the olden days, not olden artists, they also had this thing. They used an old photography method called obscura, and back in the days, because they have no cameras, so they have this thing called obscura, and it's kind of like a curtain. You kind of fill the room completely dark, and you have like a window to the outside world, and you just poke a hole through the curtain. And I don't know how. Okay, science is not really. I am not a professional, but how it works is that the light will go in, and somehow it kind of turns the image from the outside world upside down in the room. So artists will kind of use this method, and they would trace their art. So yep, everybody do it. But some people, they just feel like they have to be on top of everybody else and say that uh, reference photos or tracing is really bad. But I don't know. For me, it's like, okay, after you trace, it's kind of like, okay, you trace, suddenly that's a cheat, but then suddenly that person's skill is not taken into consideration after he traced, like the coloring and everything else is suddenly that don't matter, okay? Because um, I uh, I find it surprisingly difficult to uh, paint human likeness. You know, I mean, I've painted humans, but to paint a real life person and to copy that lightness, I find that very difficult. Even if I trace or use a grid method, yeah, I still find it difficult, and I still applaud the people who painted something that looks so alike like that. I find that very, very respectful. The thing is, right now, if I use a whole standard brush, if I use a standard brush and I'm filling out the details now, I can tell you quite frankly, it will not look nice. I mean, I like textured brush is because of its messiness. It doesn't focus too detailed, and yet it has all this texture in them that makes it eventually it looks real anyway. So yeah, okay, I'm trying my best not to focus on the details, but it's kind of hard because I just can't help it. Okay. I like to think of nature as perfection in its imperfections. I like nature because um, if it's too perfect and it suddenly does not look natural at all. Like um, if you see a portrait of a person, for example, and then you see all their hair is just like in one direction and not a single strand sticking out, it suddenly feels so fake, you know? That's how I see nature. It's perfection in its imperfections, I like to think. Okay. Yep, nothing much going on in terms of the explanation side. I'm just looking at my reference photo, but at the same time, I'm not following it like every stroke. You just kind of look at it like, okay, this is how it should go. This is how the directions. So just kind of go like that. Some I heard people say that you can flip it upside down, and this gives you a whole new perspective because we are not used to seeing things upside down, and then we just follow the pattern because our brain don't think too much about it. You don't kind of go like, oh my god, okay, I have to follow this as per the photo. No, not really. Yeah, I I remember watching this episode of Art Attack. Do you guys watch Art Attack? Oh my gosh, one of my favorite shows as a kid. I especially like when he does those big big artworks, you know, using like clothes and you know whatever tools he has in at that exact moment. I remember there was one time he did this jersey about football, or was it hockey? It was a sport, and then he used jerseys and stuff like that. And yeah, one of my favorite shows when I was a child. Gosh, I feel old right now. It was England one, I think. The guy was English. But oddly enough, even though I enjoy watching it, I never did any of his projects. I don't know. I guess when I was a kid, I thought he just had magic hands or something. Like even though he took everyday items, I thought I could never do that. Oh yeah, so yeah, point why I brought that up was because yeah, some people they find it too difficult, and then they turn the art, not the art, the photo upside down, and then that's how they don't get too overwhelmed by the complexity of it. I remember there was this episode he was drawing a kangaroo upside down, and he was kind of like explaining like when he was drawing the kangaroo head, he said, "Oh, okay, turning it upside down. It kind of looks like a bicycle seat," and I was like, "Wow, okay, I never thought of that." Another artist that I'm currently following, Lacree Fine Art, she also mentioned that if you get too overwhelmed by the complexity of the photo, just kind of flip it upside down, and you know, you don't get too overwhelmed by it all. So yeah, that's another tip for you. I'm just gonna save it first in case anything happens. You can never tell. I mean, last time I used to use Photoshop CS2. It was a really old program, and yep. Uh, Hold on. Yeah, it used to. It was an old program, and randomly it will crash on me, and I found that really annoying. But I grew up on the concept of making sure you back your files up. So even though now, ever since I got Photoshop CS6, it never crashed on me. In fact, I love Photoshop CS6, but you can never be too sure. Okay, same goes to your work. Are you like whenever you use spreadsheets or you know those Microsoft Words, you can never be too careful. Even though they have some systems have autosave, yeah, you can never be too careful. And it's like you know that saying, I rather have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, kind of thing. And you know, I was born paranoid, so yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. My Photoshop tends to do that a little, telling me things I can and cannot do. What's up with that? Now let's go for the lower ground. I think it looks pretty good now. Although it needs to bump up the contrast and add in colors, which I will work on that later. It's gonna be a lot of rocks. Okay, I'm gonna start coloring. Nice frosty blue. Don't want it to be too blue, just want a nice hint of hue. I think something like that. Gonna color this with a nice hint of hue as well. Not hue, a hint of blue. Yep. Okay. The foreground. Judging because I'm not really sure. I want this to be during the daytime, but at the same time, because of the forces of magic, it's going to be forcefully dark. So I'm going to make this a little. Oh man. Sorry, I'm just my mistake. I'm just gonna duplicate the layer for the foreground, just in case, you know, it doesn't work out. So the lightness, I'm going to darken it a little, and I'm going to bump up the contrast. Something like that. And I guess this one just a little bit more as well. It looks a little better. Okay. Looking at this tower, obviously it looks ugly. Okay, I wouldn't want to stay in there. It doesn't look very nice. That's the reason why I want to scrap it for one. Number two, it doesn't look like it belongs yet. You know, it doesn't look like it belongs there. And it doesn't look very intriguing, or it doesn't invoke any emotions in you. It doesn't look menacing, nor does it look holy. I wanted this to be like some sort of sanctuary, but at the same time I wanted it to look like a little bit like menacing. You would like, it's kind of like a place where you wouldn't think it would be safe, and yet people go to that place looking for safety, security. And yeah, I don't have any of those feelings, so I totally scrap it out. I thought about it and I think I got a new idea. I was thinking of turning it into ice or something like that. So here goes nothing. Kind of like a ice fortress, like Superman's home. Since it's a cold place at the same time.